good afternoon. My name is Chris Pigg and I'm talking to you from the Black Pig Printmaking Studios here in Frome in Somerset in the UK. I've got a double endorsement today. First of all, I'm really chuffed to have been invited to contribute to World of Interiors magazine. Not my kind of natural habitat at all, but very interesting to be asked, to be invited to write a review of this book. Okay, here's my review. Ta-da! Nice that they've chosen a Mary Cassatt actually as well. I'm glad that's an interesting, good choice. Not the obvious, not the Hockesize Wave or something tiresome like that. Anyway, so the book is The Story of Printmaking, A Global History of Art. Now, I wouldn't touch a project like that with a dung fork, because if you think about what a poison chalice it could be in terms of it attempts and actually does an extremely good job of, it's like writing an entire history of the world from caveman to the present day. There's bound to be a sin of omission in there somehow, but Holly A.J. Black manages to pretty much do a pretty good job of including everything that's important. If you think about it, where we are is through dissemination of ideas, and print has done that more than any other medium throughout the history of the human race, right? And allied to dissemination, there's dissemination of ideas, there's dissemination of ideas through images. And so some of the greatest artists that ever drew breath chose printmaking as a major part of their production. Partly because of the dissemination, partly because of the aesthetics of printmaking, because so far as I'm concerned, it's the most beautiful of all media, and partly because it's quite commercial. I remember once, here's an anecdote, right, okay, I'm in anecdote land, this might be, verging into martini hour. I sold my entire degree show, postgraduate degree in Barcelona, to a rich Korean heiress. And it's okay, because of course they were etchings, I could just do more, but it gave me enough money to live for a month in Barcelona and pay my airfare back, and all of that stuff was covered, right? And one of my rather jealous painter friends said, so how do you do dry point then? Because he was realizing that, of course, when you're dealing with multiples, it makes commercial, very, very commercial sound sense, in that a client is much more likely to part with £150 than they are with £11,000, because it feels less of a punt. It feels less of a big deal. So you can make your money. You can make your £11,000, so to speak, through selling lots of prints, which gets the prints out there, gets your work seen, it's disseminated, and it's an original piece of art. One of the things I love about printmaking, one of the many things I love about printmaking, is that this stuff, bit of plastic here, what we make our images on is called the matrix, which is Latin for womb. That's, well, I don't speak Latin, funnily enough, but I've heard there are other words for womb. But the point being is that it is the disseminator, that wombs produce other people or other mammals or other things in the same way that that a printmaking block does. I absolutely love the poetry of that as well. So here's a hot tip, right? Go and get yourself a copy of this, because if you're wanting a grand overview of what printmaking is and was and why it's important, she's done a really good job. Okay, goodbye from Black Pig.